Women's IT World. Women's IT World. Women's IT World.
Welcome to episode 8 of season 5 from the Women's IP World Annual Podcast, a podcast series that's shining a spotlight on women and intellectual property. I'm your host, Michele Katz, and I'm the co-founding partner of the law firm Advitam IP, which in Latin means intellectual property for life. We are based out of the US in Chicago. Me and my firm are hosting this podcast on behalf of Northens Media PR and Marketing Limited, based out of the UK in London. They're the publishers of the Women's IP World Annual and the Global IP Matrix magazine. Soon, you will see the 26th edition of the Women's IP World Annual. Today, we will still be talking about an article from the 2025 edition, which can be found digitally at www.womensipworld.com. Again, that's www.womensipworld.com. And you can listen to the annual as well on your favorite podcast app. And if a hard copy is more your speed, stop by the Northens Media booth at most major conferences. You will see us there. I would like to welcome back Elleson Fraenk, founder of the Vision Legalis Advocaten in Suriname. Now, of course, Ellen, you're going to correct me where I mispronounce things, and please do. I would like you to take us into your world in Suriname. Please tell us a little bit about your country and where you are and what stands out about Suriname.
Well, hi, Michelle. Thank you for having me again. I'm happy to talk about Suriname,
Hmm.
actually. So,
I knew you would.
yeah, I know. I usually at all conferences, I have this ready-made, you know, speech, so to speak, that I rehearse before I go to the conference because I know not a lot of people know where Suriname is. So, Suriname is located on the north coast of South America between Guyana and French Guyana on top of Brazil. So that's our location. It's a very diverse country. We have people from a lot of ethnicities and people with roots from Africa, Asia, China, Indonesia, India, uh, Europe. So it's a very diverse country. It's small. Uh, we speak Dutch as an official language, but next to the official language, there's a lot of other languages that we speak, including Sranantongo, which is our lingua franca. So, yeah, it's a very diverse country, or one of the greenest, if not the greenest country on earth, 93% covered with rainforest. Yeah, so that's Suriname in very short.
So, what would you, besides the greenery,
Mhm.
what would you say stands out, which is huge because aren't you, I think we talked about this before, like as far as carbon footprint,
Mhm.
isn't Suriname like at the top of the list for like the lowest carbon footprint?
I think we are one of two countries who are carbon negative.
That's it, carbon negative.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes. And so, I mean, but as far as standing out, like from a commercial perspective, what's coming out of Suriname that maybe people would be familiar with?
So right now, we have the usual. We are tourist minded, but not the mass tourism. It's very
Mhm.
eco friendly because we're trying to preserve, our interior. So our tourism is eco friendly. But what stands out right now is the oil and gas boom that's waiting to happen. We have had some enormous finds in front of our coast, and it has been decided to not explore but exploit that.
Mhm.
Leading up to that first oil in 2028, you can see how much is going on and how much companies are coming to Suriname and how much You know what I mean? There's a lot of activity. That's what I want to say. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, an industry or like people coming also investing perhaps
Yes.
too,
Yes.
expecting, right, expecting great things, wealth, etc., to come out of your country. What is the population of Suriname?
But 600,000 people.
Okay. So in the entire country. Yeah, that's pretty small, right? I mean,
Yes, it is.
so wow, incredible. And so here you were working at a big firm for 14 years or so, and then about 7 years ago, you started your own firm, something like that?
It's already in 2018, so it's now already. It's yeah, it's almost it's 8 years. No? Yeah,
Mhm.
8 years already. Time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah. So in 2018,
My mom used to say, "Time flies." Yeah, when you're having fun and even when you're not. That's what she would always say. I was
yeah,
like, "Okay." Um, so okay, so when you say a big, you've got country of 600,000, but you were working at a big firm for 14 years. What does a big firm mean? Or were you working for a maybe a Dutch firm or something like that?
yeah,
Can you give us a little insight as to what
yeah, yeah. I know. This is really funny because to us it was a big firm, and that means like 10 attorneys. But I know that's really small in the world. So it's
indeed.
funny. Everything is relative, of course. So to us, it's a big firm, and now because most of our firms are one or two attorneys, sometimes five, and the bigger ones have 10,
Mhm.
11,
Well, I
around
mean,
that.
my firm, Advitam IP, is, if we just take the people, we're about 15 people to run the place, to get everything done. So I mean, my firm would fall nicely, I think, into the Suriname numbers. I'd still be considered maybe medium, medium.
Yes. Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for that. And what led you to start your own firm 8 years ago?
It was actually more of a feeling. It was not some grand plan. It was just more of a feeling that I wanted to make a difference and in how I would run the firm and create a culture where people could be themselves. And not that you couldn't be that at my old firm, but I wanted to be the deciding factor. So that's what I
Hmm.
wanted to create an environment, a culture where people could be themselves and, work towards a bigger goal. And again, not that I couldn't do that in my other firm, but I wanted to do it for myself.
Yes, boss lady. So, with that in mind, when you started your firm, did you have clients already? Did you like how many people were you just hung up your shingle and it was you only? What did that look like?
Actually, yeah, yeah, more or less. Before I left my firm, I politely sent all the clients an email and
Hmm.
telling them that I was leaving and that if they, so my own clients, I would tell them like, if you prefer to stay with my old firm, that's okay too. I will just hand your folder, your file to another attorney. And I have to say that most of them said, no, we're coming with you. But I
Hmm.
gave them a choice because I felt that it was, the thing to do that once you have worked at the firm for so long, um, a lot of clients come to you because of the name of that firm. So I wanted to give them, the opportunity to decide whether they would stay there. And a lot of them
Hmm.
said, no, we're coming with you. So that was a good start, but I still had to look around and, not really promote because we are not
Hmm.
allowed to promote ourselves. We cannot place advertisements or anything. So, but I still had to make a name for myself outside of the firm I was with.
Certainly. And you've done that, I think, quite well, including with your involvement with Northlands Media. I would say. How did you come up with
Mhm.
your firm name? Because you didn't go with like Frank and Associates. You went with Vision Legalis
Yeah, yeah.
Advocaten. Um, how did you?
Hmm.
Why? So, it's. I'm curious because in part, I also did not use my surname and that was a big discussion. It was a big, like, you know, brainstorming session, coming up with names. What should we do? Should we go surname route? Should we not? And you also chose not to. So I'd love to hear
Hmm.
how you decided and why you decided on Bizon.
So that was a conscious decision to not go with my surname because I think it's in the nature of attorneys to put their name on their firms. And like I said, I wanted to create a firm with a culture that people could be themselves. And I want that culture to be there even if I'm not here. So I
Hmm.
don't want the firm, although it's kind of my baby, it is my baby. I do not
Hmm.
want it to be, um, how do you say that, dependent on my being here for it to thrive. So that's why I did not give it
Understood.
my name. And Vision Legalis is actually Latin for legal vision. And what I feel like what we try to do here is that when a client and most that will be a business owner comes to us, I want them to share their vision for their company with me, and then I will try to translate it into the legal structure that it needs. So more or less we're trying to provide the legal structure for the vision of the client. So that's how we came up with the name.
Yeah, it's like they come to see you, just put our vision glasses on, and let's come up with the
Hmm.
best strategy to reach the client's goals.
Yes,
It's great.
exactly.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll continue our
Hmm.
discussion as soon as we are back.
Okay.
Secure your spot in the global IP magazine, AIPPI Special Edition, launching this October. This exclusive edition will be distributed at leading international IP events, offering your firm a powerful platform to showcase expertise, share insights, and strengthen global visibility among a highly targeted audience of IP professionals. Position your brand at the forefront of the international IP landscape through editorial features and advertising opportunities tailored to maximize impact. Secure your place in this highly anticipated edition. Contact us today at 0044 203 813 0457 or email gip.magazine at northonsprmarketing.com. Visit our website for more information at www.globalipmagazine.com.
Welcome back. We are going to be talking about your article in the 2025 edition of the Women's IP World Annual. It's entitled How Attorneys in Smaller Countries Can Encourage Small Business Owners to Protect Their Trademarks. For those that want to take a look on the online or paper copy, it starts on page 49. So, from your experience, I mean, you've had, wide range of experience in all these years now of practice, whether you were in your prior firm or, your current firm. What is the secret? How how attorneys in smaller countries can encourage small business owners to protect their trademarks? What would you say?
So I think the most important thing is that actually like how I explained with the name of my firm, Vision Legalis Advocaten, is to stand beside the client and realize that um, intellectual property, protecting trademarks is not on the forefront of their mind. Most entrepreneurs just want to do what they do, right? They have something they're producing or there's a service where they're delivering, and they just want to do that. So everything that lawyers bring in or accountants is just noise to them. So you have to understand that. Um, but you have also what I feel is, and what I'm trying to do is raising awareness about what trademarks are, but also about the risk of not protecting it. So I really try to be not like the lawyer or the attorney that raises a finger, said you have to do this, you have to do that. But I'm trying to educate them, and make them realize and make them want to protect what they have. So I think that's the most important thing. And in doing that, or I'm doing that by either explaining the registration process, highlighting uh, what a business asset, a trademark really is, because not everybody understands that. And I try to think with them, and offer them solutions that are practical in their day-to-day operation.
So it's basically a mindset shift that you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you're right. I think most of us around the world, when we're working with small businesses or maybe they're new businesses, their focus is sales, sales, sales,
Mm-hmm.
where their trademark, which is you know, their central to their business, is kind of an afterthought. Um, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's changing that. So to show them that in the flow chart of importance, right, when you're building a business, the
Mm-hmm.
trademark is actually the center, right? Your brand is the
Mm-hmm.
center. Um, and through the various vehicles that our countries offer, you want to protect and keep others out of your market share, right? And that
Yes.
also then grows business, and at the same time increases the value of your company. So when you're talking to a new client, who's of this mindset, what is the approach that you take? Like, are there certain examples or scenarios that you give them to try to begin that shift so that they see the importance of IP?
Hmm. Okay. So how I go about it is that like if I having a trademark client, I let them book like a consult with me,
Hmm.
and I really take the time. It's most of the time it's almost an hour, and I really take the time to educate them, and I explain what trademarks are and what kind of trademarks there are. And you'd be surprised at how many uh, entrepreneurs, business owners do not realize that they have several trademarks. Most of
Hmm.
them are always thinking about the logo. That's what they consider their trademark. They don't consider word marks. They don't consider, the mix. They don't do that. So when I begin to explain that to them, you can see the realization dawning. So that's how I start explaining what it is. So after explaining to them what the trademarks are, and what kind of trademark there are, then I ask them to share with me their their business, and then they will explain to me what their business is about, what they are producing, what service they are delivering. And then we go actually we go through the business, and then I explain what kind of intellectual properties I'm seeing uh, from that first consult. And then I'm trying to explain about infringement, not only of people infringing their intellectual property, but also the risk of them infringing other intellectual properties, of intellectual property of other persons. So it's really a step by step consultation to create the awareness and their the wish, or that for them to really protect their trademark.
And then, in the end, offering practical solutions.
Yes, 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 that's true. So sometimes, because if it's a small owner, a small business owner, they don't really have the budget for, you know how that is. Sometimes there's a company who has a lot of budget and they can just, you can register everything. So this is usually not the case with small business owners. So then in that consultation, when I'm uh, becoming aware of what intellectual property is um, in the business, then we make like how do you say that? We're checking what has priority. What intellectual property has priority in all the whole list that they can produce. And based on that, we will say, like, based on your budget and the priority list, what will we do first? What is really important to register right now? So usually we will go, of course, with the word mark, but I also ask questions from like the logo. Who has designed it for you? Is it something you have done yourself? No, I've asked the designer. Have you asked the designer to give you the copyrights? Usually that's not the case. So it's really the the, the small but important things that I discuss in that consultation.
And for our listeners, definitely check out Ellison's article because it kind of goes step by step in the process of
Mhm.
this consultation. And I think it'd be really helpful for others. Take a look at that, and
Mhm.
if it's useful to you, apply it to your practice. So we're actually, time flies, like we discussed, when and in this case, it's
Yes,
because we are having fun. Um,
we
so I
are.
want to conclude with, you've accomplished a lot in a relatively small amount of time, okay? And you've put Suriname on the map for IP as far as
I
far as,
try. I
far as I'm
try.
concerned. So, I want to. Do you have a mantra or a favorite quote, words that motivate you that you could share with us?
Wow. Okay. No.
You know why? Because you're too busy doing. You're too busy. Too busy doing. But
No.
is there some quote, I don't know, like it could be from someone that you admire that, like, when you're caught on something, you're like, I know I can figure this out, or something, or like, oh, I've got a long day today. What's getting you through? What's getting you through the day?
What's getting me through is what is getting me through is really my faith. So if it in Dutch, the text is met God spring ik over muren. That in English would say, with God I jump across walls, I think. Yeah, that would be the translation. So that keeps me going, my faith. And actually my drive to create, what I was saying about that environment for everybody to thrive. So what I want within my firm, the reason I have started my firm, is also the reason I do what I do for small business owners. I really want to help them thrive and help them, you know, develop their ideas so they can create themselves, can create an environment for others to thrive.
Hmm. It absolutely. And I think that probably you enjoy spending time with the other members of the women's IP world community, right? Because I think we're
Yes.
like-minded in that way. We're all
Hmm.
constantly driving.
Hmm. Hmm. True, true.
Well, I want to thank you, Elson. Thank you for coming back to talk with me today and letting us shine a light on you and your expertise in IP law. To our listeners, please like, follow, share with your friends and colleagues, but also feel free to send comments and questions. Thanks for joining us today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
The women's IT world. The women's IT world.
You have been listening to the Women's IP World podcast, hosted by Michele Katz from Advitam IP in Chicago, USA, on behalf of Northlands Media PR and Marketing Limited in the United Kingdom.
The women's